I have a series of questions that have come in from all of our listeners over the last couple of days. And I wanted to go through those and answer some of those questions from a cleaner's perspective, not from the Airbnb host's perspective. All right. So I'm going to throw these questions up here and then we will just answer these one by one and we'll do our best here. What key responsibilities do you delegate to your manager and housekeeper and why are they essential? All right. This is really, really an interesting question because when it comes time to hire a housekeeper or a manager for your property, a couple of things we have to be really keenly aware of is what are the parameters of your property? And so most Airbnb owners and vacation rental property owners are looking for 5-star ratings and reviews because that's how they keep their superhost status. And so when you're looking for a person to come in and play that role in your company, we have to be very keenly aware of what our requirements are and what the expectations are. How quick of a turnover are we going to be able to do if we have a last minute booking? And is there some, I don't know, a note inside your booking system that says you can't book within 12 hours or whatever, so that you can ensure that there's a cleaner coming in and that the property is cleaned and all the things, right? So we want to make sure that we have all of that in writing before we start hiring people. So some of the tasks that we want to delegate are the restocking of supplies. You don't want to have to come in as an Airbnb owner separately from that and then go ahead and restock your property. You want to make sure that if you have a cleaner that's coming on staff, while they're already there, they do the damage reports, they do the restocking of the toilet paper and the towels and the linens and all that stuff, as well as making sure that the cleaning is done. So it's kind of a three-tiered opportunity, if you will. You're going to pay a little bit more for that. But if you get the right person at your property, you can rest assured that while you're off doing what you want to do, your property is going to be well prepared for your guests. So making sure that you have the right fit is key. And that comes down to knowing exactly what your property requires, putting it in writing. And then when you interview people, go through all of those so that the understanding is in place that these are the parameters of the job. Because it's kind of the Wild West out there when it comes to property management, because every property is a little bit different. And you don't want to get in a situation where you once had a property manager that did certain things, and then the new property manager that comes in says, oh, we don't do that. That's not part of what we do. So you want to make sure that you have a list and that even when a house cleaner comes in, that you go over your list with them. Now, I'm on the house cleaning end of things. And so there are a lot of house cleaners that are like, well, that's not how I do. Okay, then that's the wrong person for your Airbnb. So you want to make sure that the person that comes in is teachable and that they're willing to follow the rules that you have for your property, because your property might be different than another property that they clean. I know lots of house cleaners clean 30 and 40 properties. And in order to do that, every property has its own little unique quirks. Don't close the back door a certain way or don't leave the gate open or whatever. So there are certain parameters. You want to make sure that's all in writing. So what are some examples of how a skilled manager has positively impacted your Airbnb business? All right, this is really interesting. And one of the things that we look for when we hire staff or property managers to run an Airbnb is we look for people who notice things that need to be done and do them without being asked. So that's one of the very first requirements that we look for. Because if they come in and let's say there's a cracked window, are they going to pick up the phone and give us a call and let us know so that we can get that fixed before the next guest comes? And then if they come in and let's say that there's trash that's overflowing and for some reason food has been left out and there are ants or other pests of some sort, we want to make sure that they pick up the phone and they're able to either call a pest control service or that they have some kind of a spray that they're going to use between now and the next guest, certainly that they'll contact the host. So there are certain things that you want them to be able to just do without saying, well, that's not my job, and then they ignore it. So one of the first things that we're looking for is this person a go-getter? Is this person someone that I can count on to cover my back if they see something that needs to be done while I'm not there? Also, if that property manager, if you have a property manager that's running the property, they might have to make last minute adjustments. For example, let's say that you have a guest that's supposed to check out on Thursday and that guest decides to stay an extra day. Providing that you have openings, is it okay if that guest stays an extra day? That property manager will be able to take care of that for you without calling you and saying, hey, is it okay? And, whatever, getting you involved. And so is this a do-it-yourself kind of person that's able to take that initiative? So that's what we're looking for when we hire a property manager. When we're hiring a house cleaner, some of the things that we're looking for is how reliable are they? And you're not going to be able to learn that from just an interview because they'll say, oh, yes, I'm reliable. You're going to want to check ratings and reviews. And so this is a cleaning company that is established, that has ratings and reviews. Or if it's somebody that you're willing to take a chance on, track those ratings and reviews. As you get this person up and running, give them a couple of jobs and see how reliable they are and track that progress. So everybody that we hire, either for an Airbnb job or a regular cleaning job, we put them on a 90-day kind of a trial window, if you will. And that way we can take a look at their progress and say, yes, this person is somebody that I can send out to work alone, or this is a person that absolutely needs to be on a team. They're not so reliable and they're somewhat forgetful or whatever, right? You want to make sure you have people you can count on. This is kind of a sidebar, but one of the things that we do in order to make sure the slot is filled for the cleaning is we want to make sure that you have a calendar of some sort that everyone has access to. And I know for our Airbnb properties, one of the things we do to staff properly is we use a Google Calendar. And the Google Calendar is available to everyone who has Google, and it's absolutely free. And you can create a schedule list of all of the Airbnb bookings that you have. And you can also assign your independent contractors or your cleaners to the bottom of that calendar. So everybody has access to that calendar. One of the things we found really productive for us for Airbnbs is to have that, and we use a lot of independent contractors because our regular cleaners have regular clients at regular scheduled times, where with an Airbnb, they only hire us when they have a booking, right? They don't hire us to come in and clean for no good reason if the property was cleaned 2 days ago or 3 days ago, right? They're not going to call you to come back and do it again and again if no one is there. So the turnover service is kind of sporadic in a lot of properties. Some of your big tourist areas, not so much, but in some outlying areas, that's the case. So we do have a lot of independent contractors that work those markets for cleaning. And one of the things that we do is we ask who's available. And so we will let those independent contractors book themselves on the Google Calendar. They all have admin opportunities where they can add stuff to the calendar. So they'll say, I'm available on Wednesday, I'm available on Thursday and Saturday. Then if you have like a last minute booking, the books, usually when the person checks in the day before that they're going to need a cleaning when they leave. So based on the day that they clean, you look at your Google Calendar and you say, hey, who's available for us to send out on this job? And so then you call the independent contractor that's there and say, hey, we have a job for Tuesday or Wednesday. And based on their availability, they might claim that. So we let the independent contractors book themselves on the calendar, and we let the independent contractors claim the job. And so if they are booked like, hey, I'm available, and they don't claim the job, they get nixed from the list because we're not going to count on independent contractors that say I'm available and then don't take the jobs. Does that make sense? And we give two outs for an independent contractor. So in one calendar year, if they say, I'll take a job, and then for some reason they don't show up, or there's an emergency of some sort and they don't, no call, no show. Once something bad could have happened. They could have been in a car accident. There could have been a tragedy, something. But twice in a calendar year, we don't work with them anymore because we need reliable people. All right. If you guys have any other questions that come up, leave them in the links below and I will respond to them just as soon as I possibly can because I want to make sure you guys do get your questions answered. Have a great week and I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.